You there?
Me. Hey, buddy boo.
You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I
hear
can
me?
hear you. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Good to see you, man. We're having a little bit of a technical issue here. So we're live on Facebook. Hopefully that everybody are going to be. Hopefully they can hear us, guys. On the Facebook, please let us know if you guys can hear us. So it sounds like you can. Perfect. Hey, man. Dude, welcome to the show, brother. It's been like we've been kind of batting this around, trying to get the show for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, long time.
Good, man. So
long time.
For the people that don't know you, whatever rock they've been hiding under, tell them who you are, where you're from, what you do. We'll get into beast mode and the whole 9 yards, but you got a lot of awards back there. So whatever you do, you're very good at it. And we're going to have to go deep on that. But yeah, man, introduce yourself. Who are you, brother?
Good, man. But your audio keeps cutting out. I don't know if it's on my end or on your end, but can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it just keeps popping in and out. But I did hear you asking me to. It's so weird.
Okay. Well, just introduce yourself, man. If the people don't know you, who are you and what do you do, bro?
My name is James Festini. I have been a Southern California real estate agent since 1993. I started off under my parents' wing, a lot like you have. And
exactly.
As soon as my ego got too big, which only took about 6 months, I broke away and moved to a different territory. It was a very peaceful breakup, but I moved to a different territory and picked up my hustle and hit the ground running. A lot of what I learned was from my parents were seminar junkies, so they went to the Pelote Wickmans and the Mike Ferries back in the day, and they had a vast collection of those audio programs. They took me to Tony Robbins' thing, and as soon as I got my license, it was full speed ahead. Ever since then, I've averaged about 40 sides a year, and those awards behind me translate in a nutshell to about 200 grand a year in your pocket. A lot of times people make money and they spend more than they make. I manage, but I don't spend it on my business. I just spend it on my lifestyle. So that's my excuse. I work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, March 2016, I left a community where I owned the town. I was the #1 agent in that city, and I was, making 300 G's with my eyes closed in that town. I wanted to triple my income, move to a better area, and so March 2016, I picked up, grabbed everything, sold my house, took my whole family of 4, 5. Well, at that point, then it turned 6, to an area where my previous price range was 300 Now it's 900. So I tripled my income, tripled the competition, and quadrupled my efforts in prospecting and lead generation, and haven't stopped a year and a half later, and I'm killing it.
Wow. So you literally just picked up and you went to a whole new area. I'm pretty sure you didn't know anybody, and you didn't know anybody, and they didn't know you. You know,
Nope.
So we're gonna break into this guy, and you guys know James is an absolute hustler, grinder, gangster. You know, when it comes to outbound prospecting, he has a group called Beast Mode, which he's always out prospecting on the calls or on the doors or something like that. But let's dive into this a little bit, because I know there are a lot of people that watch the show or either newer in the business, they need a revamp, or like one of my personal coaching clients, she's completely changing locations. Dude, where do you start? How do you do that? What did you do to get started in this new area?
Well, about 6 months before I physically moved, once I had made the decision to move, the first thing, I'm a huge telemarketer. I've been doing this since 1993, probably 1992-ish when I came into the business with my parents. It was strictly as a telemarketer. And it was my brother, my father, my sister, my other sister, and my mother. My dad was a buyer's agent. My mom was a listing agent, but they never really did a passive client sphere of influence. They just did a lot of cold calling. So it was, the 3 or 4 siblings were just on the phone. So even back then, I would take, DOS was, the software, and Top Producer just launched on DOS. And I would break the Plantronics headset apart, have 2 pads with the mute button, 2 lists, and I would literally, with my peripheral vision, double fist. So unless someone can date double fisting before that, that's one of the originals. Manipulating the mute button, with one phone on one ear, one phone on the other ear, and having, pretty much 2 conversations at the same time as fast as possible. So hitting 100 contacts a day has kind of been in me for a quarter of a century now. So now what did I do to get to where I'm at now? I knew I needed a database. If you are going to take telephone prospecting seriously, you need a lot of phone numbers. If you go into a city or a territory, you say, I want to start calling, and you acquire a database of phone numbers, and you can confirm, because I know you're a caller too. Mm-hmm. If you go into a territory, and let's say 10,000 homes, just to be a round number, and you went into a database source, how many phone numbers do you say are in that 10,000 homes? How many phone numbers do you have access to?
Oh, out of a low percentage at best. I mean,
I would say maybe 20%.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd say maybe 20%, and that's ambitious. Yeah. So you take those 10, now you got 2,000 phone numbers. Now you go to the do not call list, because I comply. If you're going to be a serious telemarketer, compliance is a non-negotiable. So if you're going to do that, what's the do not call list do to your database? I'm asking you because you're
destroys it. It destroys 50%. It. Just
easily
gone.
50%.
Easy.
50% of the phone numbers are gone. So now you're talking a 10,000 person farm-ish or cold calling territory. Now you've got 1,000 phone numbers. And then, of course, once you go through that list once, you maybe 700 or 800 of them are actually phone numbers, pristine, manicured list. So I knew the first thing I had to do, because of the tremendous exhaustive effort I do on the telephones, I needed to acquire a database of no less than 40,000 cleaned phone numbers, meaning 20,000 for my left ear, 20,000 for my right ear, meaning that I dial with Mojo. I've got 2 Mojo accounts. I have one phone here, 6-line dialer propped into my skull, and I'm going 100 miles an hour, 100 calls a day. If you're making 100 calls a day, that translates to at a 6%, 7, 8% pickup ratio. Because again, I'm throwing all these crazy numbers, but they matter. If you're going to begin telemarketing, these things will make sense to set yourself up for success and not failure through frustration, and defeat. Average pickup ratio that I found across the board with all of my Festini mafia is what I call them, is about a 6 to 10% pickup ratio. At a 6 to 10 pickup ratio, that means you got 100 phone numbers, 6 of them will answer. It's just the way it is. So you're dialing a tremendous amount of phone numbers just to speak to 6 people.
Right. Or get yelled at by 6 people. It really depends.
I don't get yelled at. I don't have time. My script doesn't allow
You
yelling.
definitely have a different script up for that when it comes to that. So yeah, you are just in, out, and moving on to the next number just very, very quickly. But I want to back this bus up real quick. If you guys are understanding what he is talking about, guys, like I do when I do my crazy calls, I'm on a single mojo dialer, a single triple line. He's running two of them, having can potentially have two conversations at one time. Dude, I just gotta ask, man, how in the hell do you do that? Seriously, how do you do that? That's more than just a little impressive.
Like energy level, or how?
No. Like, how do you do two mojos? I mean, that is insane.
Okay. For the viewer crowd, the people who are listening, first of all, it has to do with the script. My script is geared for 2018. As far as I'm concerned, all the scripts are so old they fart dust. They're so old. I wish I had more old jokes. They're old. The scripts of the past haven't been rewritten since Reagan was in office, or I don't know, Roosevelt was in office. And it's all like this. Hey, my name is Agent Company, and I just listed a house on XYZ Street, and I was just wondering when you did that. Whatever it is that you're getting at is this lengthy attempt to establish rapport within a fraction of a second. But the truth is that we're living in a generation now more than ever where Amazon, in the last 6 months, I now only shop on Amazon, and I will only click buy now if I can get it by tomorrow.
So true.
That's how
so
bad
true.
I am. If it is not tomorrow, I just won't buy it, and I'll pay $10 more. So why would we, in that sense, enter into a world of a script that we are a pop-up banner that it's the difference between being able to click X on a pop-up banner versus video will end in 10 seconds banner. Most of the scripts out there are, please watch this commercial for 15 seconds to watch what you want to watch. You know the one I'm talking about. Versus me, it's like, hello, pop-up, click X, bye. But
it's so true.
It is very true. And we got the attention spans now of, white lab rats or goldfish or whatever they say.
Yeah, goldfish, yeah.
So when I use my script, it's so quick and exact. I know that my script is geared towards getting someone to say no. I know that. I expect them to say no. Mm-hmm. The doctor, you go into his office, he sticks a thermometer in your mouth. He's not expecting you to have a fever, but he's going to do it anyhow. He's not expecting your blood pressure, but he's going to do it anyhow. I'm sticking a thermometer in the mouths of 100 people a day and just doing a quick check. And if I see some variation, like that knee-jerk reaction, I don't know why they ever do that. I haven't had that happen to me in years, where they hit you with that rock in your knee. That must have been an old script for them. It must have died. But what happens is the knee-jerk reaction, they're looking for a response. And so when I'm calling these people, I'm listening. I expect them to say no. But I'm anticipating with a finely tuned ear, a very subtle, a very distinct, but an intuitive, perceptive ear would pick up on such a minute variation of no. That means something else is going on in that tone of voice. At the door, it's impossible for me not to see it. On the phone, you got to be listening. But here's what it sounds like. Hi, my name is Agent with Company. My script. Hi, my name is Agent with Company. I was calling to see if you had any interest in selling your house. No. Oh, well, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Versus, no. It's the same word, but it was enough for me to go in one more step and say, do you think maybe later down the road you'd reconsider? I'm detaching myself from the immediate quick fix right now. I want to know right now. So going back to the pop-up banner, on the pop-up, you click on it. Now your headline has to be grabbing, right?
Right.
And that's got to get your attention. You still don't have their attention. But you don't, if you open up that pop-up banner and you see it looks kind of spammy, if all of a sudden at the bottom it says 10 ways to cure psoriasis, and you wouldn't believe what this person did in your town, you're like, damn. Then you're like, out. But if it looks legitimate, then you're like, okay, let me scroll through and see what I got. And it's like reaching them in and catching a fish on the line and reeling them in. Yeah. And so when I hear them say no, I hear it, and I detach myself from the sale and say, do you think maybe later down the road you'd reconsider? Well, bleh. Then something happens. all right, well then, do you think would it be all right if I kept in touch? Do you have any idea how much it's worth? When would you go? Where you plan on? It opens myself up if I have them on the line. If I don't, I know
So
my answers have way deep.
So what's
So
that?
let me answer.
What's that tonality shift? I mean, people are probably sitting there going, "What the fuck is he talking about? How is that? What is that? What does that mean?" They want that easy button. They want that thing that you've been able to tune in. So, I mean, can you describe it? Is it just you? Is it just your ear? You've done it for so long.
It's almost psychic. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a trained psychic ability, but I do a little one-on-one coaching, and the ones that I have gotten into, once you ask yourself, if you have to ask yourself, was there something else to that no? If you hear it, you know the difference between no and no. If you're out on a date and the girl doesn't like you, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
and
you
if
do.
you try to go in for the kiss, you kind of know. And if you get the
up
kiss,
10 feet,
you kind of know. It's just this. It's human nature not to not know. And at the door, like I said, at the door, forget it. They can't hide that. They're like, body says it. And I can it literally is NLP to the extreme, but it's like NLP on, iPhone X or 10X or whatever, the next generation of understanding how fast you have to capture their attention. And if you don't have it, move on. If you get it, push it into the future. So I want to answer the question about the 2 lines.
Right.
I'll show you for the viewer crowd. You ready?
Go.
It's a demonstration. Is my text backwards, by the way? I'm looking at you.
It's just backwards for you, but it's fine for everyone else.
That was the camera that opened. Sorry, man. No shameless plug here.
Dude,
2 lines are on, right? You got to have the call alert. Mojo goes, boop. First phone is there. Second one's ringing. When they pick up, you see my hand gestures? And I do this live when I'm doing my live calls because I do my live prospecting. And sometimes people are like, how you do it? So I've got this code that I can share with people, the sign language. So it goes, boop, boop. That means someone picks up. This means I hear something because sometimes they'll pick up and they're gone. So this code means it's something I don't know if they're there, and then they hung up, right?
Right.
Or I'm talking to them. Okay, so first time picks up. Hi, my name is Agent with Company. I was calling to, boop, next one picks up. Now, this person didn't hear me say, hi, my name is Agent with Company, but they will hear, I was calling to see if you had any interest in selling your house. The second half of the first conversation, they hear it. There is no introduction. But the first ear is going to say, no, not right now. Well, if they say no, and this one goes, no, then I've got 2 leads. I have to make a decision. Very rarely happens. 1 in a million, 1 in 100,000 maybe. But if they pick up, it's almost as if I could, quite possibly, because of the way that works, I could pick up the phone and start calling and going, hi, I was calling to see if you had any interest in selling your house, without the introduction. And that's really what the second person is hearing. If that person says no, I put my hand up over my mouth because I got one, instead of manipulating the mute button, I separate the sound just a little bit. And I go, all right, thank you very much. Have a nice day. The person who just got the half-eaten script doesn't know why I said that. They don't know because, again, going back to the short attention span, I kind of might have already lost them anyhow.
Right.
But maybe that second person goes, what? Thank you very much. Have a nice day. This guy. And he goes, I'm sorry, my name is Agent with Company. This guy's gone off the phone. This guy's on the phone. Yeah, sorry, I'm James. I was here calling to see if you had any interest. And that conversation. And trust me, with a script that is less than 5 seconds, it's possible. With a script that goes in and says, hi, my name is Agent. I just sold a house on XYZ Street, and I was just calling to see what. Never going to happen because it just wouldn't tie in. So that's how you do it, is have a script that every syllable, every sound, every calorie exhausted has weight and in and out. And I'm convinced that if I called the same 1,000 people you called or anyone else called, that at the end of the day, not only would I get the leads that you guys picked up on, but that I probably would get more. Just because I'm listening to the variation of no. Now, appointments are a whole different thing. Cold calling from appointments are extremely rare. I mean, if you're setting an appointment off a cold call, you're probably offering free CMAs. I couldn't imagine someone out of the blue saying, come see me without doing a little curation. So my system requires a little more follow-up. But again, also because it's so direct, I list 9 out of 10 of the listings I go to. I don't go on 5 appointments a week, but if I go on 2, I'm getting 2. If I go on 5, I'm getting 4 because I've already eliminated. I'm doing something that is so easy that I don't get objections. I'm looking for any reason not to list them.
So you're literally trying not to spend time with them. Like you're doing the weeding out process before you even go to have the possibility to sit down and talk to them. You're like, look, if you're not actually thinking about really doing something, I'm not going to waste my time, your time, or anything else, my breath with someone who's just wants to kick tires or anything else. So you're looking for you're like a, don't take this the wrong way, but you're like the hot chick. You're trying to find something wrong with the dudes hitting on you, and you want to weed them out to get to that one goal, that prize, and then move forward with the one you actually want to spend time with because they're going to do something and they want to actually work with you, not just you.
I'm a human postcard. I'm a human pop-up band.
I love that, the analogy, because a lot of people, and that's one of the things that I've found, when I do my calls. I mean, I've got to give a disclosure, or otherwise my brokerage would fire my ass. So my intro is a little bit longer, but I try to get over that. But I've actually found that when I tell them that they're being recorded, because obviously you've seen me do the calls, everyone can hear their voices and everything, that it takes the dick out of them. They really are. They're much nicer once they know they're being recorded. Every once in a blue moon, they're a guy or gal. But I mean, the thing is that with crushing through those numbers so fast and so efficiently, there had to be a learning curve for what you liked and what you didn't like. So I'm assuming you started off doing this like everybody else, but then you found your own voice, right? Like you're like, I kind of want to do this in a more efficient way. How did you find your own voice on that? Because it's not something that's taught a lot.
It has to be self-taught. I mean, I didn't stumble on a script somewhere else. No, I mean, if I had to think back, 1992 when Mom told us all here, I think maybe there was a little more to it. Whereas this is this agent with company. I think it's always been very quick and to the point. I don't recall a lengthier option. It never made sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense for it to have ever been longer. If my goal is to, find out one thing. I mean, everything is about trimming the fat. I mean, it's the difference between an Android and an iPhone. An iPhone, you touch a button, it just works. Mm-hmm. But I've got both, so don't get me wrong. No haters here. I carry the iPhone.
I was waiting for that disclosure.
I have both, so I hate them and love them equally. But with the Android, you touch a button, maybe it does a few things, maybe it spins, sings a song, and with the iPhone, it just works. And so I think the way I work is that it's like the iPhone. I'm trying to eliminate any virus potential in the script, and even, I mean, it goes to like expireds. I use the same script with expireds. I use the same script with a for sale by owner as I do a cold call. All I want to do is find out one thing.
Binary answer, yes or no?
A lead. Yeah. Do I have a lead? When can I have the lead? That's it. And do I have a lead? Maybe yes or no. When? 2 months from now? Great. I'll call you in a month.
Right.
Call you in 3 weeks. Call again cold. Do I have a lead? Yeah, in a month from now. Okay, I'll call you in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Do I have a lead? Yeah, in 2 weeks. Okay, great. I've been keeping in touch. Maybe it's foreplay.
Now we're talking.
Every time. My script is foreplay. I'm like the king of analogies here. But it is.
Don't worry, man. That's why we have this show. We can have fun with it. We can say anything we want on the show, and that's what I like about this thing. And the fact of the matter is that I think what I really respect and like about what you do is that you go to, and literally, I mean, your group is called Beast Mode for a reason. I mean, that is absolutely beast status on that. And everybody, when they watch you do the calls, when they see the awards behind you guys, all of you guys on iTunes and Stitcher, his whole desk behind him is littered, just rows and rows of awards back there from his production. And those don't lie. I mean, that hustle and grind pays off, but people don't want to do what a beast has to do to be a beast. They all want to say beast, but then they're like, ooh, 6 lines. Oh, 2 people. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. But I want to be like James. I want to have his success. You're like, dude, how the fuck do you expect to be successful if you don't actually sit down and do the calls, do the doors, do the networking, do whatever it takes to get the business, right? And I mean, but you're on a whole new level as well. I mean, you have a van that you've customized, right?
Right.
And you actually drive this thing into the neighborhoods. You do doors and you do calls from the van, right? I mean,
once in a while, you start getting psychologically it's hard, even though it's a trick office inside the conversion. Just it's weird. It's like it gets a little claustrophobic after 6 or 7 hours, peeing in jars and like eating off the floor. You're like Howard Hughes in there, making your money through like slide my leads under the door.
I was just gonna say you're going all Howard Hughes on us. That's funny shit. Okay, so let's break it down to the basics for the agent that's watching us or listening to us right now. They're like, dude, I can't do what James does, but where's a place for them to start? I mean, what's a realistic expectation? I mean, I know that I break my calling sessions up, throughout the day, so one, I don't get just absolutely brain numb sitting here and doing calls and watching paint dry because it's about that exciting. But how does someone start to emulate you and walk in your shoes eventually?
What's funny is this is so easy. It's so easy what I do. It's not difficult. It's not painful. It just requires, like, remember the show Lost where the guy had to turn the dial or push the button or like the world would end?
Yeah, I got lost in Lost. I got lost after like the second show. I'm like, oh, what is going on here?
It was just this activity that you do. And once you commit to doing it, it doesn't hurt. I mean, physically, door knocking, hitting the doors. But I commit to prospecting a minimum of 5 hours a day, period. Like, I don't feel right if I don't. So that means either 3 hours of cold calling, 2 hours of door knocking, 3 hours of door knocking, 2 hours. I mix it up. But yeah, if you're a full-time agent and you don't have an appointment today,
yeah.
What do you do? I say, I wish I had one superpower. I'd be invisible just for a couple hours. And I would go to the agent's offices and I would stand there and be like, what is this? And then I'd be like, and then I go to the top producers and then they'd be like, I go, how are they doing? Are they doing it? And I would stand there going, they're not doing much. There's not so. And all of a sudden I'd see them open their computer and then they'd log on to ZRT, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and they'd click buy now. And I'd be like, that's what they're doing. They're paying for it. You either go get it or you pay for it to come to you. And I just absolutely refuse to pay for leads. As long as I'm healthy enough to do it, I don't want to do it. So where does one start? You start with going 2 paths. You could either become a prospector or you could become a passive recipient. And that's why I think my content remains kind of unpopular. 7 years of doing like these live things, and I'm still not very famous in our space. Because as soon as they come in, they're just like, no, I'm not doing. It's not sexy. It's not. There's like nothing impressive about having to sit there and like at the end of the day be greasy and wrinkly because you sat there for a 5 hour and 8 hour prospecting session. It just. But I would say decide. Either you're going to pay for it or you're going to go get it. So we're talking, if you're inviting me on the show, you're talking about how do you go get it.
So that sounds like some people's personal lives too. You're going to pay for it, you're going to go get it. What are you going to do? But
I'm like, or you're going to make it happen.
I'm like you, man. I can't sit there and pay for it. We've tried the ads. We've tried this stuff. Dude, they suck shit on a hot day. I know. I was just doing a YouTube live and a Facebook live into a private group that I'm a part of with a list that I'm calling off of. And people were asking me, well, how do you do this all the time? And I said, well, I just make a decision. I sit my ass down and I make the calls. And, because I know and that you're extremely good at this. I'm extremely good at this, and I don't want to go pay someone else to do it. But like you said, they have to make a decision.
People want to talk about getting, are you going to expand a team? I go, the only way I would want to expand a team is to find more people so that I could not do the things that take me away from what I enjoy. I enjoy door knocking. I like cold calling. I know some will say, no way. I do. I not because I like cold calling, because I have, if you watch, I've got, my 2 headphones in my ear, but on my outer ear, I'm watching TV. I'm binge watching television all day while I'm prospecting. So yeah, absolutely. If you want to do a 5-hour, 6-hour prospecting session, Netflix, like that's indispensable for me to do that. While I'm out door knocking, I've got a little tiny Bluetooth earbud. I'm listening to podcasts and Audible.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, I'm just hanging out doing nothing. It really is just, it's so easy that, so if someone wanted to do this, find your territory, find your data, find where you're going to go, your region, narrow down between your home or your office, wherever it is you want to like dominate, acquire all of the telephone numbers, get with the do not call list, go to Cole, go to RedX, go to Landvoice, go to Mojo, wherever you can get data, and compile one database of phone numbers. If you're going to commit, it's expensive, but if you're going to commit, phone numbers are gold. You're not going to be throwing them away. They're going to be your lifeblood. So you go and you obtain every possible phone number in a database in a region and say, this is it, man. This is my domain. And you start calling it from the top all the way to the bottom. And then the first time you dial them, 20% of them are going to be crap, renters, disconnect, bad numbers, whatever. Next time you come around to it, it's going to be even better. By the third time you sweep through that list, you're going to be actually dialing people who are either not going to pick up or they're going to be homeowners. But by the time you generate such a tremendous list, there's a tipping point that happens. And part of the reason why I moved to a whole new territory in 2016 was to prove once and for all that my system works. Like there would be no denying that the Festini formula is legit if you just went into a brand new territory. Because like I said, I've been doing this, exposing my method for years. And yet I've always felt like as if there's always something else. Oh, yeah, but that's this guy. Or that he was sleeping with a banker. That's why he got all those REOs. It's like, no, man, nothing. I don't get lucky that way. I literally have to go in and just pound. I don't have like a talent. This is not a talent. This is me, turning a wheel over and over and over and over and over in callus and blood and sweat, and then repeating it. And if you want to start, you got to start building a database of names and numbers of self-generated leads versus purchased leads on the internet who are everybody else's versus the leads that I'm generating. Chances are they're nobody's. I'm sure there's other people who are doing it, but it don't matter. I'd rather compete with that than compete with the anonymous screw you at yahoo.com email lead that I just got for 10,000 or 5,000 or 1,000. It's just not worth it. I generate my own leads. Once you get to a certain point, and I'm feeling at about 300 self-generated leads over the course of time, now all of a sudden as you're doing your follow-up, because again, everything's geared towards lead gen, the beast mode lead gen. But it's not that we don't follow up. I follow up effectively in the morning and at night. I call the leads I generate. So if I'm generating 2 to 5 leads a day, because I am,
right.
If I'm generating 2 to 5 leads, not like come list me, hot to trot. What do you qualify a lead? Someone who says maybe is a lead.
Yes.
And then that's still better than a Zillow lead.
It's way better than a Zillow lead any day of the week because they're actually expressing some sort of an interest. Great. Now it's your job to figure out what kind of follow-up plan do they need to be on, and then you need to be accountable to go back into your people that have said that they want to do something and actually call them back. I mean, I'm calling back people right now that I talked to in February. My buddy Stefan Adika and he and I have done we're bantering back and forth doing our follow-ups. I do only do a fraction of them actually on the live stuff. I do a lot of them behind the closed doors. But I mean, the responses are fantastic from the people that you're following up with. I mean, because they're like, hey, thanks so much for calling back. Thanks for following up. Thanks for blah, blah, blah. And I think a lot of the times the reason why, this is my theory, James, you'll love to hear your thoughts on it. I think a lot of the times that people don't do prospecting and they're very proud to say that I'm not a prospector, I do X, Y, and Z to get my business, whatever, right? It's because it's the fear of rejection. You and I have taken that fear and just laid it right out there for everybody to see. Look, we're not getting rejected. What people are doing is they're getting the offer that we're presenting to them. And it's okay. I know at least 97% of the time I'm going to get shot down. It's okay. And when someone tells me, go fuck yourself, I say, thank you very much. You've made my day because I can check off that next box.
Which is extremely rare.
Extremely rare. I got someone I had someone tell me to shove my phone up my ass today. That was fun.
It's funny. At the door, I've had one psycho. And then like two, and we're talking like 20,000 doors, easily 20,000 doors in the last like 5 years. I've had one psycho, right? I mean, we're talking like cuckoo. And then the other one, I get an occasional door slam, but it's no big deal. But on the phone, when someone like starts in, I know because I comply with the do not call list I'm fearless. If I wasn't complying with that list, I would have like this. But when they start like getting into it, hey, you da la la la. For some reason, like my heart rate gets up, and I listen just to see how far they'll take it. And then once they're done venting, I'm like, all right, well, thank you very much, have a nice day. But for me, it's I guess it's twisted, but I like it. To me, it's like, whoa, look, can you believe it? But it's in this day and age, how can you even say that to someone over the phone? At the door, I had one complete like noter that like rattled me for probably about a week, and about a year before I even went there.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years, and I've door knocked the entire time and prospected the entire time I've been in this industry. I can count on one hand the crazies, that I've run into. I actually had one dude, I was doing calls, and he literally drove down to my office from a city that's probably 25 minutes away just to go toe to toe with me. I'm 6'5", 240. He was probably a 5'5", 140 pounds. And that was not going to happen. But I couldn't believe the guy actually took time to go him down. But guys, the reason why James and I are sharing these stories is not to say, oh my God, watch out, crazies are out there. It's more along the other line of like, yeah, you have batshit, but that's like, it's like a fraction of the entire amount of people you're going to talk to. Most of them are awesome.
So small. It has to do with your attitude, because there are people who do attract that factor. If your voice isn't like sweet and I'm always like trying to play off like the sweet grandson. I'm never. I mean, it's beast mode. But it's like gentle giant situation here. I'm super courteous and extremely courteous when it comes to people saying, please put me on your do not call us, no problem. But a lot of times, like you were saying, the fear or the rejection, rejection is when you're like when you roll over in the morning and you're like, hey, babe, and she says no. That's rejection. Asking a complete stranger if they want to sell their house when they truly don't want to sell, that's not rejection. That's just,
it's cost of doing business.
It doesn't make sense. You don't have, the problem is that you probably don't have enough leads if you're afraid of follow-up and if you're afraid of prospecting. And like I was saying, there's a certain point right at about 300 or so that I'm seeing, at about 300 self-generated leads, you suddenly are able to dial into your follow-up database and make appointments. So everyone's always like, oh, how many appointments you got? How many this? Look, it is 2017 at the end of the year. And right now, looking at my database in my dials for past, present, and future, sitting right now on January 2nd, I can tell you I've got about 375 self-generated leads. 2018 is going to be huge. I mean, if I hand someone, and we're not talking about like old expireds that you haven't dialed. We're talking about people who I have physically spoken to that have given me a maybe what better, more beautiful database to acquire to just, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation. You couldn't pay
No.
500 grand to any internet site to generate 300 people
No.
who would say yes, maybe. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't wait. And right now I'm starting to close on them little by little, and December is going to be huge already. But man, January, February, I'm like floored at just the perfect storm of what my formula is going to once and for all vindicate in my pocket. You know what I mean? And to actually pull this off is going to be just awesome. Okay. I'm excited.
So I got it. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, and there's no secret formula here. It's just hard work. But I mean, you said that you have a formula that you want to prove out. Do you want to talk about that at all, or is that kind of your secret sauce that you use for your coaching clients?
No, it's actually no, that's the thing. It's no secret sauce. It's proving that cold calling does work. It's proving that door knocking does work. It's proving that everyone's like, what script do you use? And then I tell them, they're like, well, I've added a few extra things. I'm like, whatever. Everything works. If you use it, everything works. Hell, I hear even Mike Ferry's script works.
Oh, God.
Everything works if you do it. Every diet works.
If you stick to it. That's the funny thing about it. People never stick with it because it's difficult. It's hard. It's grueling. You get rejection. You have the long hours. You know what? So I'm obviously on your boat 100% on this. I would much rather spend my time grinding out doing the calls because, like you, I have a sick obsession towards it. It's a hunt for me. It's a challenge for me. When you hear the tonality in their voice, how can you take that conversation? Where can it go? What are they truly saying to you? It's unpacking them like a present on Christmas. First comes out the bow, then comes out the paper, then open up the box, and there's a client there. Or it's the pile of dog poo, and you let it move forward.
It's about having control. I mean, that's the thing. About yes, it is long hours. My goal. I try to be in the office by 9 a.m. and I'm usually out of here by 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. But when, like tomorrow, my son has a basketball game at 3 o'clock, I can get up and leave. I make my own hours. I make myself work there. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. Christmas to New Year's, I can say, you know what? I'm just going to take this week off. If you want a job that pays a ton of money and lets you make your own schedule, this is it. I can't imagine a job that doesn't require a ton of work, that you can make a ton of money and make your own schedule. I'm trying to think. Well, I guess drug dealer. Right? That could be the only one. And still, you don't make your own hours. You got
to be on the corner. You got to be in the corner, slanging your shit. Yeah, we don't have to bring.
I mean, this is legal. What I'm doing is still legal. And one of the things that drives me too is that I lived through 2011, 2012. And that right there gives me so much effing fuel right now, every day, where it's like, I never, ever want to feel that. I'm like, I tear up every time I even try to talk about how to do like hundreds of BPOs just to make ends meet. Taking REO. I was an REO king. But that don't mean anything, by the way. The REO kings are gone in everybody's community. They're gone. I managed to, shift, become an REO king in that neighborhood, and then shift back out to survive. But I mean, 6% listings where I'm getting 1% and 5% is going somewhere else, and I got $100 grand out of my pocket, paying empty pools and people wiping pieces on the walls and like the ghetto, and doing lockouts in like dark corners, and I never want to see that again. And the sad part is although we may never see it, if history repeats itself, we won't be alive to see that again. I just never want to be so out of control. And so as long as telemarketing and cold calling with compliance is still legal, I am going to milk this thing until it's bone dry. And it's like every day I cannot believe that I get away with this.
There's something there that I think we may have glazed over very quickly. I want to back it up a little bit, and it's what hopefully you guys caught this, but the intensity that you took me back to 2011, 2012. I could feel your emotion and the complete resistance to ever going back to that, no matter what. And you're going to be willing to put the grind in. That's why you do two, triple lines at a single time. That's why you sit down and do 5+ hours a day of prospecting. That's why you're grinding so hard. It's because I remember those days as well. Those were fucking horrible days.
Worst ever, man. Worst.
I'm convinced. I remember this one house, man, is in a city called Pittsburgh. It was a newer development. Looked great from the outside, walked into the inside. I'm convinced that to this day that if the CDC went in and scraped those walls, they would come up with new bacterias. It was such a horrible environment to be around. And like you, mine's a little bit different. I refuse to ever be broke again. Whatever it takes. I did 30 pop buys yesterday. On Saturday I was doing pop buys and just, knocking on doors and saying hi to people. It's because, that's why you're successful. That's successful. That's why a lot of people aren't successful, though. It's because they don't have that deep-rooted need to be better than what they were.
Yeah, it's not knowing what you don't know. So anybody who came into the business, and even if you came into the business in 2008, 2009, I think those are an interesting breed because they see things, and for them it's normal. Like all the extra paperwork now. Like my wife's my TC, and she's always complaining about this, like the new guys don't complain. They just think it's like this is normal, and we know how it used to be, and we know how good it used to be. And unless you know how bad it can be, if you came from an industry where like this is your dream and you did it after 2011, then this is great. But when it comes to like the interest rates going up too high, or the inventory is low, so what? The inventory is always low. It's never like, oh, the inventory is high. I've never said inventory is high as a listing agent. So that's outside talk.
We have so much property. Don't list with me. I have way too many properties. No, that conversation never takes place.
It's true. Once you feel the bottom and like the defeat, and that's why sometimes I like to watch movies like The Pursuit of Happyness with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Or The Big Short. Those to like actually like feel that chest pressure. Glenn Ross with Jack Jack Lemmon in that scene. Just feeling like the bottom. I feed off of that fear of never wanting to be there, and then the excitement of the potential of doing so much. It's unlimited potential. There's no other business you can get into and not have to spend so much. My outgo on dollars is very, very small. Like tax guy, it's sad, because I can't come up with deductions because I don't spend money on my business. I generate my own lead. My everything I do is just super like streamlined. I don't have employees. I don't have equipment. I don't have, advertising budget. If I do, it goes directly to, I do mailers, but they're to the leads I generate. They're not like blindly blanketing a city. I'm not, dropping off massive amounts of propaganda to complete strangers. It doesn't. So yeah, I love feeding off of the potential for this market and what it offers, and like no other industry. This is just can't imagine.
So we got about 10 more minutes before we gotta cut it off. I want to talk a little bit about follow-up. Now we've kind of gone over the outbound prospecting and kind of that's the iPhone we're talking about.
I don't even know where half this stuff rings from, man. I got like 9 screens in front of me, and half the time I don't know who's beeping.
I'm with you, man. The first time I heard a Facebook call come through, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Where's it coming from? So we did the outbound prospecting stuff, the hard stuff. What is a simple process that people, let's say they have 5 or 10 leads, and or maybe they have a couple hundred leads, but what's a process? Do you do the mailers? You're doing the calls? Do you do pop buys? Do you use social media at all to reach out and wish them happy birthday on Facebook? What do you do to stay relevant to these people? Because finding them is one thing, keeping them is the other. Kind of like a hot chick.
With social media, stay relevant. and you're like blowing fuses. I don't know how I could be relevant to someone who doesn't need me. How do you stay valuable if nobody wants you? Being there, I guess, being social, and I'm not a very social person. I mean, I attend events like my son's football games and my kids' soccer games. I'm always branded. I'm showing here that everything I wear has a brand. My umbrella, my car, my lawn chairs, my easy ups, everything is branded. So being places when I'm not indoors in my house I do Instagram, I post photos like when I'm out door knocking, but it's kind of hard to force that. So if I see something beautiful, I do it on Instagram. I do vlog, but it's not for generating business. I don't see how outside of Facebook and just pranking people and then just trying to live a fun and exciting life and then hitting send when it gets exciting, or if you're frustrated or sad or something, expressing your feelings through the written word or photography, and then hitting send, I guess, is the only way that you can remain relevant, like especially on a social media. You've got to be creative. You got to have like an artistic vibe or a voice to try to stay relevant without looking. I mean, you see some of these people who go like Twitter and Facebook, and all they talk about is, call me now, I'm great listing, and da-da-da. And it's like, man, how does anyone even connect with you? Where for me, it's I'm a funny guy, so I'll put something funny, and I'll.
Right.
So I don't know how to stay relevant other than just living a really interesting life and trying to share that interesting life.
So you're doing a mailer. So you have 300 and how many leads do you have for
it's
next
about
year?
370.
About 370 leads. I guess my question, to be better put, is how do you stay in front of them consistently so they remember, oh yeah, James Festini, he's my guy. I mean, that's the question.
Yeah, you call them, obviously. You get that one a month if they're thinking of selling. Again, most of the people I socialize are going to do something. Otherwise, I don't socialize. So if they're going to do something, we're talking about a cold call who says maybe now we want to stay relevant. If they're planning on selling within the next 6 months, they're going to get a letter every minimum twice a month, depending on their temperature, hot, warm. I don't send letters to cold. So they'll get a letter once, at least twice a month. And then in between there, they'll get an email, which is whatever. In most cases, I'll use like a CMA softwares or something. I go into the MLS and I'll build out a CMA and then just like quickly click it. That's good for at least once a month. The BombBomb, I use BombBomb. So, and so at least I'd probably say at least almost once a week, if they're a legitimate lead, they see something from me, in that sense. So it depends on their temperature, but something lands in their hands. I do when I'm door knocking, I do have notepads. So even if I don't have anything, I'll stick like a notepad in the thing, with my card. It's just, it's really not, it's not as if they're going to be like, ooh, I got this, let me call him. It's more of, I know I'm going to call at some point. Sometimes they call me first, but at some point I'm going to call them, and then we're going to close through the appointment. And it's very. I don't want to know about my dentist. I don't want to know about my doctor, and I think that's the same with them. But if they're interesting, like my dentist, he's a very outspoken guy, and he's interesting to follow on social media. So I listen to him, and if I have a cavity, I'll go there. But it's more of being a personality with a brand that isn't completely douchey. I guess is the only, we're not coming off like a tool all the time. That's hard.
We're always selling them, yeah.
Wearing a logo without looking like you're working is not an easy thing,
No, it's not. And you pull it off, you make it look easy, bud. Okay, so where can everybody get a hold of you? Tell people about your training. Phone number, email, how the best way to communicate with you for referrals and for potential trainings.
I'm a moving target because the social media changes a lot. It's always like you never know what's the flavor. The best way is probably YouTube. I'm really doing a heavy push on my YouTube. I've got hundreds of training videos there. And a lot of people ask questions, and I probably already answered them through hundreds of hours. I have a podcast on iTunes. So wherever I'm doing Instagram, I'm a prolific snapper. I'm huge on Snapchat.
Really?
Not that I like Snapchat, but like I said, I'm a vlogger, which means that, I do a lot of behind the scenes and funny stuff and like to interact in the world. And Snap has a very nice way of editing. So I'm taking these 5 to 10 second clip. You got to see what I do on Snapchat. It's not what they meant it to do, but I'm taking my Snap story and downloading it at the end of the day and putting an intro and an outro, and I'm uploading it to YouTube in a 7-minute movie. And
that's
looks
awesome.
Clean. It's clean editing. And that, again, with the right hashtags and the right information, people see it. And we're like, my son's kids or my son's friends, I got a Snap following, a bunch of kids who think I'm really weird, and I'm having a good time doing it. So yeah, Snapchat for now. The best way to reach me is YouTube, I think, right now. My email is james@jamesfestini. I mean, wherever you want to find me, I'm probably there. The coaching, I'm always real reluctant to do it because it's extremely time consuming. I don't feel like I get paid enough based on what I give ever. As you can do in this short little stint we have here, I'm holding back with words, because anytime I have a coaching, if I get 10 people at a time doing one-on-one, it eats so much of my time because I promise a half hour a week, but I'm on there for an hour with these people, an hour and a half,
easily,
because it's 25 years that I'm trying to shove into you, and I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, but there's so much more to it, so that I can't just say, watch this one thing or do this one thing. There's more depth. Even when you ask me a question, it's there's no one sentence that covers it without giving you all the body of work that says, and then you go, that makes sense. Now I get it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, if you want one-on-one, find me. I'm not going to pitch you. I'm not looking for you. When a student is ready, the master will appear, man. But
yes, it will.
And when I get it's a tough draw to do one-on-one. There's no money in it. There's no money.
What's your Snap handle? Is it combined or is it separated?
It's just one.
Just one continuous. Okay.
Yeah, it's just combined. I think my son might be also James Festini on there, but I'm wearing a little Santa hat for the season. But yeah, you'll know within a couple minutes who's here. But I do a lot. Again, it's a very different. They're very different formula for the way I use Snapchat. That's probably why I'm not so popular with many, because I do 30, 40 snaps a day.
Jesus.
But I'm making a movie, right? I'm making a daily film so that the people who are watching it, they're just like, this guy's insane. Oh my God, who's got time for that? Where I'm like, I'm not, I'm piecing it together, and it's like a documentary.
Yeah, but it's also it's chronicling your day. It's showing people that you really work. It's entertaining. It's fun. By the way, I just followed you on Snap, so I look forward to seeing some of your antics. So guys, reach out to James if you want to do some coaching. He is the definition of beast when it comes to prospecting. He's not going to take any bullshit, because he knows what he wants. And I need you guys to go, and I need you guys to find your why. James has his why. You can hear it in his voice, and he's dedicated to use the different social media platforms that are available. And he's right. They're always changing. So keep your antennas tuned up to see which way things are going. A lot of live video are coming across all the different platforms right now. So it's an insanely cool time. But James, you have been absolutely awesome, as always, and a wealth of knowledge. So we are going to turn it off here, but stay put. Don't you go anywhere. And guys, follow the show, give us a review on iTunes. Please, the more reviews we get, the more we get pushed up and out. And then follow me on Facebook, guys. If you're interested in doing coaching with me, go to bookmcdaniel.com, bookmcdaniel.com, book a 30-minute intro call to see if we're a right fit. And if it is a good fit, then we'll do a 60-minute call to follow that up. All right, guys.
You know what? Actually, I do have one. I guess I do have one place. If someone had to go one place, go to Facebook and find Beast Mode Lead Gen.
Yep.
And join that group. When you go in that group, if you want to take it to the next level, I have one product, and it's called Beast Mode Lead Gen Prospecting Challenge. And all that is it gives you access to my Door Knock Mastery course, my scripts, my Slam package, my Contact Management Mastery course, everything that's about $500 what I normally charge as one separate products. I have it all now. I pull it off the market all the time because I just can't see giving it so cheap. But right now it's $100. Probably by the end of the month, I'll just cancel it out again. And it gives you access to, like, there are things in there that I do hold back a few times, even just now. You're asking questions where I dodged some, where there's a few things in there that they're game changers. For $100 to have 100 leads in 100 days, if you just listen to what I say, you're not going to find it. So sorry to interrupt you, man. I guess that would probably be the best way. Beast mode lead gen, and then take the next step to go for the challenge. It's $100. Ask me about it.
There you go. That's your fucking ticket, people. Go sign up for his 100-day challenge. Go change your life 2018. You can either be a punk or you can be the king. It's up to you what you guys want to do. All right, guys. Hey, we love you. Thanks so much. Share it with a friend. Share it with your anyone who needs to hear this stuff. But as always, guys, peace out, ninjas. We out.